Hey guys, it's Jayla. Welcome back. I'm here today to share with you my update for Paint in Every Palette. I was inspired to start this project by watching Paula at A Beauty Guru Made Me Do It, and the original creator of this project was Lady Pants-A-Lot. I will link their information down below. Leading into this update, I had hit pan on 42 palettes just from this project, which is amazing. I think I've done this since January of 2021, so we're going on like 2.5 years. But yeah, I'm happy with 42. I think that's a pretty good number. I break this project up into 3 separate sections. The first section is where I choose the shade, so all these palettes are randomly chosen, but the first grouping of 5 palettes, I choose the shade. The second section is where the shade is randomly chosen for me, and I have 3 palettes in that section. And then lastly, I am doing Project Level Up, which was created by Sophie, Alexandra, and I'm currently working on level 4. So let me share with you first the palettes that I was working on as of last update. So where the shade is chosen by me, there's 5 palettes as I mentioned. The first one is the Beauty Bay Midnight 42 color palette. Next I have the Glam Light Ice Cream Dream palette. Look at that cute packaging. Then from Tarte, I have the Tartelette Juicy palette. It's a little dirty. From Huda Beauty, I have the Pastels Lilac palette. And then lastly, from Urban Decay, I have the Gwen Stefani palette. Now for the palettes that are randomly chosen for me, I have the BH Cosmetics Nightshade palette, the ColourPop Melt For You palette, and the BH Cosmetics Zodiac Love Signs palette. And then for my Project Level Up Level 4 palette, I have the Buxom Dolly's Wild Side palette. So, question is, how many palettes do I have pan in? The answer is 3. I have 3 palettes I can roll out this month, and a 4th that is really close. So let's get to the palettes that I hit pan on. Then they're falling all over the place. The first 2 are in the section where I chose the shade. So we have the Beauty Bay Midnight 42 color palette. And in here, I was working on the shade Shield. Let's see. There is my pan. Yay, this is a gorgeous color. Go ahead and give you a swatch. Really enjoyed working on that shade. Lovely. Next palette I hit pan on is the Glam Light Ice Cream Dream palette. And the shade I was working on in here is Rainbow Sherbet. I actually hit pan on this today in this eye look. It's the shade here. Again, really pretty. It's kind of hard to see the pan because this color has stained the pan a bit, but trust me, it's there. There's that shade. And the last shade I hit pan on is in the section where the shade is randomly chosen for me, and it's in the BH Cosmetics Nightshade palette. The shade I was working on is Shady. It's this one here. I really loved this shade a lot. It blended out beautifully. Doesn't look that great on my hand, but I really love that shade. So those are the palettes I hit pan on. Now for the one that I am super close on, I'm going to go ahead and roll in a new palette for this one. It's again from that first section where I chose the shade, and it's the Urban Decay Gwen Stefani palette. I worked on the shade Pop, and here is, look, I mean, it's such a deep pan, but I am really close. I tried to hit pan today. I used this in my inner corner, but it was not happening. I think I'll hit pan in this the next time I use it. So again, I'm going to go ahead and roll in a new palette for this because I think 1 or 2 uses, and it'll be pan. I'll have pan in that. So we have 4 palettes I'm going to replace. 3 are in the section where I chose the shade, and then 1 is in the section where the shade is randomly chosen for me. All right, let me show you how things are going with these other palettes. I'm going to go through the 2 palettes remaining in the section where I chose the shade. I have the Tartelette Juicy palette. This is going to take forever. I'm working on the shade Rose, which is down here. You can't even tell I've used it. I mean, what the heck? What the heck? I did use this today as well. I mean, you cannot even tell that there's been any use on this. There's no dip, nothing. Damn it, Tarte palettes. They take forever to hit pan in. It's a gorgeous color. I really do like it, but yeah, it's gonna take forever. So that's still in here. Next, I have the Huda Beauty Pastels Lilac palette. I am also wearing this shade today in the inner corner, like not the inner corner, but the inner part of my eyelid. And the shade I'm working on is this one. This one's also close, but I really don't know how long it's going to hit pan in, because that's why I'm not going to roll in a new shade for it. Because it's a kind of a creamy shade. It's also, it's one of those like, it's one of those really creamy texture shades. You can see it's malleable. So I'm not sure if it's going to be easy to hit pan in or more challenging. So I'm not going to roll in a new shade for the, or new palette for this. There's a shade there. It's really pretty. I use it as a topper. Lovely. And then for the two palettes remaining in the section where the shade is randomly chosen for me, I may have used this shade once. The ColourPop Melt For You palette. The shade I'm working on is Dipped, right? Dipped, yeah. It's the shade in the middle. I have not really focused on this one, so it has not gotten very much love, to be honest. There we go. There's the shade. It does much better over a tacky base. The second palette I'm working on is the BH Cosmetics Zodiac Love Signs palette. I have not touched this. This is the shimmer in the Cancer shade, shimmer Cancer shade. I mean, it's really pretty, but I have not focused on this. I honestly don't know how hard it's going to be to hit pan in this shade because it's very powdery. I guess we'll see. Anyway, there's the shade there. I just haven't focused on that. Whoops. I haven't focused on that one at all. Like, I haven't used it once. Lastly, I have my Project Level Up palette. As I mentioned, it's the Buxom Dolly's Wild Side palette. So this one I need to use each shade 4 times and then hit pan in 4 of the shades. This is going to take forever. I have 2 shades that I've used 4 times, and it's these 2 here. Well, actually, let me just do this. It's this shimmer and then this matte. You know what? It's going to be easier for me to do this. I just took this out of the packaging. So the shades that I've used 4 times are this shade, the shimmer shade, this matte shade, and this matte shade. So I've hit my 4 uses on 3 out of the 6. I have 3 uses in this last burgundy shade. I love this one. It's gorgeous. I have not used this shimmer shade at all. It's not that it's not pretty. I just have other shades that I'm working on in other palettes. And I don't really use... Wait, what? I don't really use taupe shades like that very often. And then this shade here I've used twice. So as you can tell, like, it barely looks like I've used it. The only one that looks like it has a dip is this one. And maybe this shimmer. I think once I hit pan in the Urban Decay palette, the Gwen Stefani palette, I'll focus on this one as my inner corner. So yeah, it's going to be a while. It's going to be in here for a while. So I have finished filming, but I forgot to mention my other palette. I have cat hair all over me because I was just hugging Ziggy. But I forgot to mention my level 3 palette for Project Level Up. I talked about this last month and that I was close to hitting the 3 pans, but I don't think I had 3 pans last month. So anyway, that palette was this Milani Soft and Sultry palette, and I did finally hit my 3 pans. So 1, 2, and 3. And I honestly don't remember. I think it was this dark brown that I hadn't hit pan in yet. And it just took a couple more uses. But anyway, and then I think I may have had 1 or 2 of these shimmer shades that needed 3 uses. So I did hit that goal. So anyway, this palette is officially rolled out of my Level Up project. Now back to regularly scheduled programming. All right. Now is the time where I get to pick new palettes. So we're going to pick 3 palettes where I choose the shades and then 1 palette where the shade is randomly chosen for me. Whoops. So we're picking a total of 4 palettes, And the first 3 are going to be the ones where I choose the shade. So let's see what we get. Glamlight Pie palette. Ooh, okay. That's 1. Number 2. Dose of Colors Marvelous Mauves. All right. And then number 3. ColourPop Lilac You a Lot. Oh, those are all really nice. Now for the palette where the shade is randomly chosen for me. Mother of God. Too Faced Kitty Likes to Scratch. It's not as bad as a Tarte palette, but those are pretty hard to hit pan in. We'll see. All right, let me grab these palettes. I will be right back. I am pretty sure I decluttered the Glamlight Cupcake palette or gifted it to somebody because I no longer have it. So we're going to pick one more palette. I don't remember seeing it anywhere. I can't find it. Oh, a Natasha Denona palette. I think this is the second time we've had a Natasha Denona palette in this project. The Mini Metropolis palette. Okay, let me go grab that. Okay, I'm going to start with the Mini Metropolis palette. This is the one that's replacing the Glamlight palette. This is what this guy looks like. Mini Metropolis. And I am probably going to pick this green shade. Or I can pick the cream, but I feel like the cream is pretty boring. Yeah, I'm going to go with the green shimmer, the one in the middle. That shade is Jubilee. And here is what that shade looks like. It's probably better for fall, winter, but I want some color variety. So we're going to roll that in. And then the next palette is the Dose of Colors Marvelous Mauves. And this is what this guy looks like on the outside. And then the inside. I have used this palette before. There it is on the inside. I have several colors kind of like this going in my Wet n Wild Petalette palettes, like this mauve-like shade, and the Buxom Dolly's Wild Side, but I'm thinking about this dark brown. My Anastasia Beverly Hills Norvina palette does not have a good dark shade, and so I'm always looking for a dark shade in a palette to work on. Now this particular shade was shattered and I had to repress it. So there's the shade. I think I'm definitely going to use that dark brown. And the last palette in the section where I choose the shade is the ColourPop Lilac You a Lot palette. And I cannot open it. Here's what this one looks like. Okay, I think I'm going to go with the shade Iffy, this purple matte. I'm always looking for a purple matte to use that isn't in palettes that I'm currently working on. Like, I struggle with this sometimes. And with it being summer, I feel like I could really get some good use on this purple shade. So that's what I'm going to go with, that purple. I was tempted by one of the shimmers, but I think I'm going to go with that purple shade, the purple matte Iffy. We'll see how that goes. And the last palette I have to share with you is the Too Faced Kitty Likes to Scratch palette. And here is what this one looks like. I have not touched this. I found this at I found this at TJ Maxx. So we have 8 shades. So I'm going to pull up my phone and we're going to do a random number generator. All right, I have 1 to 8 and we're going to randomize and see what we get. Number 2. All right, number 2 is the pink. Out of all the shades in there, I'm picking the pink. That's funny. I want to try it over a wet base. I am using this Milani eyeshadow primer. Let's see how this looks on a tacky base. That's pretty. All right, there's my color story. I don't know how I feel about it. I mean, these 2 shades to me scream fall, but maybe I'll get good use on them. Especially that green. But I don't think there's anything else in here that I would use that's not already in another palette, you know? Other than this shade. Let me just swatch that. Yeah, we're gonna keep it with what I got. So here is my new color story. Yay. All right, that is going to be it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you're doing well and staying safe. Please hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye. So those are the shades that, oh no. Fuck. The first one I'm going to show you, the first section again is where the shade, and then the last palette, and the second the sweat steps. Okay, bye.